preaching hate that says, I'm not going to let the sheep preaching hate, and it says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Warsheep Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about a few things, like relationships, compared for here in the U.S., in the States, and abroad. So we're going to be talking about that as well as other things with relationships. We appreciate you guys joining us today. Looks like we got a few people out there right now. Also, of course, I got my special guest here. You guys seen her face already once before. Well, a distorted image of her face once before. This is Juana.
Hi, you guys. Nice to be with you again.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to have you reintroduce yourself.
Okay.
Tell them where you're from. Tell them what you do. And also a fun fact, you know, that you want to give to them. Letting them know what's up. We got 10s.
Okay.
Just before you do that. We're checking in 10s. Good.
I'm Juana Mitchell, as you all may know already. I am from New York City, the Bronx, New York. And a fun fact about me is I'm an only child. The same one from last week.
No, you gotta give us a new one.
A new one?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, man. I guess another fun fact would be that I'm 4'11".
4'11".
Yeah.
That's short.
Very
so,
short.
like, you know, you're the first one to go to when it's time for limbo.
Exactly. Closer to the ground.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us today. And, you know, rocking with us for this long, man. I'm trying to tell you these episodes. I'm glad that we're at least having some success here with the stream. As you can see, we're on and we're live and we're able to go ahead and do our thing. So, you know, all praises to the Most High for giving us a good stream. And we're going to have some really dope conversations today, just based on His grace. So of course, the phenomenon is, right, and the way that they describe things here in the States, it's a little difficult to find marriageable women you can actually marry and say, okay, and trust. And it is difficult to find women who are committed and has been raised to be a wife here in the States. So a lot of people are traveling abroad, going to different countries to find women. Okay. Now, we can argue the fact that, you know, a lot of them are going just to find some sex, or some mechs.
Some fun.
Yeah, you know, just to go to Pound Town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, we would want to say purely at heart, I guess what they call it is the passport bro movement.
Mm-hmm.
At heart, purely, and what it's intended for is to go overseas and actually find a wife, somebody who's been raised in their culture to be a wife, to be, you know, submissive, things like that, things that a man typically is looking for to make a peaceable home, right?
Right.
So he can get out there and grind. What's your thoughts on men going and traveling, like, just to find, you know?
To me, if it comes to that and you deem it necessary, I don't see a problem with that. It's just like, I don't know if this group has a name, but it's just like a group of women here who go to like Jamaica and Africa to seek out men because they haven't found love here and haven't found the things that they look for in a man here in America. So, I mean, as long as you're not doing it for the wrong reasons, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I mean, who could tell you it's the wrong reason? If you want to go overseas to find sex, then I mean, that's up to you. But it's just, I get why there's a stereotype when it comes to the passport bros, because
stereotype.
Yeah.
What you mean by that? Like, what do you mean stereotype?
Just from the research I've done, a lot of people do associate passport bros with like prostitution and
prostitution.
Yeah.
On whose part?
On the women that they're going to mingle with or meet.
Okay.
So I think women in these other countries are becoming aware of their value to American men, or and you know, their own game. So initially, a lot of the ones who are, you know, in it for the wrong reasons are selling their body, and you know, things are going a different way than what it's intended to be. And a lot of the men, the younger generation, I would say, that are not looking for wives, are going over there and taking the opportunity to, you know, use what they know and get something that they want from these women, and it just goes hand in hand.
Goes hand in hand, yeah. So it's like, of course they have prostitutes over there. It's a bunch of prostitution going on, and you know, that's one of the things that I've noticed that has given the movement, and they associating these guys with passport bros or guys or men who are seeking to travel abroad for women or for wives, and kind of just giving it a bad rap, because a lot of these guys are getting caught up in a lot of different situations. Right. You got a bunch of them that just recently got robbed and murdered in Colombia.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And you know, there's a lot of you're gonna get caught up in a lot of that bullshit when you're dealing with prostitutes. When you're dealing with prostitutes, you're gonna get caught up in being robbed or being gypped or having to, you know, argue with somebody. You know, it's just gonna be not a good situation as opposed to a peaceful situation with a man who's courting or getting to know a woman over there, because it's much more peaceable. You sitting down, maybe on a date, maybe with the family, and it's not all of that extra stuff going on. So I don't know who those guys are who just looking and seeking for prostitution. Maybe they should disassociate themselves with being a passport bro, and maybe just being, you know, passport you know, water hoses, you know, garden hoses. You know,
Sorry
but like changing their way of their title, you know, and disassociating themselves. I think that they kind of getting attached to passport bros because a lot of women who don't like that they're traveling overseas to find women instead of staying in the States has attached that name on them. So, you know, to make it a tough situation. You
think it's the woman here in America?
Offer up a little bit of scrutiny.
Think so?
Oh yeah, I think it is 100%.
Because I think it may be the men in these other countries. It may be a combination of people. The men in these other countries, because that's why these American men are having difficulties in the first place. And as soon as they see you, from the few videos that I've watched, as soon as they see you, I know in Brazil, they're already like, you know, antennas are up. And you could just be a black man visiting Brazil, and they already are thinking in their mind, oh, he's here for this purpose.
Okay.
So I think it may be a combination of things. A lot of black men have been exiled from Brazil.
Okay.
And in Colombia, that's where all the murder and robberies happen. So I think the people of these countries are really aware of what's going on. And I also seen something online where a Colombian woman was saying that she's had multiple American men come up to her and just show her their passport, as if like,
right. Show the passport.
like here, baby. You know?
Yeah. She know what it is. She know what time
Exactly, and she was just wondering like, why the level of desperation? Why us women? And I think the smart women that are over there and can seek out these men who are just looking for, things for the wrong reason, they're disgusted,
Right.
and as they should be, so I think it's a combination of people that's kind of like against it. I don't want to say
Right.
it's all our American sisters and that it's just like, yeah, only us. Yeah, I'm not gonna ride that train.
In Europe, but my thing is this, right? With this being a thing, how do you feel about men doing this? And is there, in your opinion, what's the dating market? Not only for men but for women as well. Like you being a woman, understanding like the market out here. What do you believe the dating market? What's the pool looking like for the U.S.?
Okay.
And so what do you think?
Knowing this is actually kind of scary, being a single woman, and knowing that I'm kind of like on the back burner in a lot of men's head, and already off the rip, it's like, if you truly believe that you can't find a woman in America, I think that's a bit extreme, and vice versa. I think that's a bit extreme, but it's scary because I'm not gonna lie, women from other cultures and men, they do tend to stick to tradition and core values and morals, and we kind of, just put that on the back burner here in America. We don't really, we'll think about it, but it's
Like
not.
values, thinking about it,
Yeah, it's not really practiced enough here, and we don't have the support of our families behind us like we did in the past to tell you like, hey, what are you doing here? This is wrong. That might be right. This guy is nice. This woman is right for you, and things like that. It's kind of like we all just mind our business, and what happens to you, that's on you.
Let you make them decisions on your own.
Yeah.
So like, I guess the family weighing in on a woman's dating choices as well as a man, and his family being able to say whether they like somebody or not, and it holding weight within their pursuit to find a spouse or find a partner. So that's an interesting point right there, because I've been saying that if the men in a woman's life, like her father, brothers, whatever it may be, whatever man's in her life to help her choose a good husband, then she would be able to find a good husband, because men know how to pick good men. You know what I mean? Men understand what qualities to look for, whereas a woman's going to be looking at him for, starting with possibly materialistic things, or just based on how she feels. She feels like he makes her feel special, but he could be really a snake. And a lot of times, of course, when you react to it, it is toxic behavior that comes from a lot of them. But you can't be upset for somebody who reacts to toxic behavior. You know what I mean? Like, if you react to it, then it just is what it is. It's toxic behavior. You're gonna have a reaction to it, but you could totally avoid those situations and circumstances if you lean more on your family, the family structure to help guide you through these things. So So that's the biggest thing. Another thing, right, that I've really been thinking that women should talk about and women should ask more out here in the dating market is, does the man have a favorite shirt?
Why?
Because, now here's why. Women should ask a man more often if he has a favorite shirt. And if he has one, how long has he had that shirt? And if he says, hey, you know, because me personally, I have a shirt and I've had that shirt for 15 years.
Okay.
It's been, you know, it's got holes in it, all kinds of stuff, a few stains that don't come out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the reason why I keep it is because it feels like quality to me, right? It's nice fabric. It you know, it fits my body well, and it's just a comfortable shirt overall, just to do anything in. And I see the value in the old shirt.
Okay.
I see the value in it, even though it's old. I see value.
Okay.
Now, you know, for a woman to ask a man that question, she would not only be able to determine if he's able to commit to something, but also is he able to see her value and appreciate her for her value and her worth. Because if he can be able to appreciate an old shirt, she should damn sure be able to appreciate this woman for the things she adds to his life. And you know, because a lot of men have old shirts, and they you know, a woman come into life and tells this man, hey, you need to get rid of that. It's old. You've had this for how many years? You never tell a man that, because like he's committed to this shirt.
Right.
This is, until the shirt becomes useless to him, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna stick around.
That's a good point. I never really thought of asking anyone something like that.
Yeah, that's under the radar. That's a low key question.
I'm gonna use that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, put it in the back pocket. And y'all should use that more often. Ask these guys if they have these old shirts and see what's up. See what they say, you know, and you'll be able to get a good judge, right, as to who he is and what his character's like, and whether he's willing to commit to your space or not. And you know, if they don't have one, then you'll be able to also determine whether or not they are somebody who doesn't like to hang on to old things or doesn't like to commit or has an issue with committing. Now, you shouldn't make that a deciding factor, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? But you know, if he does have it, that should be a green flag for you and a plus, right? A great question to ask and a plus. So while we're on these topics, right, in the dating market, not only for the U.S. but for abroad, but in the U.S. as a whole, people are saying, of course, based on the pool of women that are being raised, you know, because you got the culture of like sexy reds, you got the, you know, Silkianas and all the people who are influencing the culture of women now.
Right.
Is the dating pool, or is the selection of wives diminishing to be able to make a healthy home, you know?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. You know what? Because
Right.
it's yes and no. Because
Okay.
I could say I like a couple sexy red songs, but
Right.
it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll see me doing everything she says in her songs. It's just I love that she's open and she's herself about a lot of the things that she does. But to tap back into what I was saying earlier, it is different when you have an example of what to be. And I feel like a lot of women today here in the U.S., they're not creating great examples for their daughters and for their sons even, especially the girls like Sexy Red and, you know, like City Girls and, you know, those type of chicks that want to, you know, use men for money and use what they got to get further in life, and it's, you know, F this, F that. But, yeah, so when you don't have that example, even if you have the family to lean on, if you don't have that example of what to be from, you know, from a toddler or, you know, growing up, you have to kind of fend for yourself and figure out which way am I going to go. because of course in life there'll be other influences, and music is a great influence on everyone's life. When I was a child, my mom played a lot of R&B, and so that made me want to be in love. Or I thought at 13 I was in love, and I would be crying to these love songs, and I wasn't even into boys yet.
Right.
So it's just what you hear, what you see, really does have a huge influence on you. So I can't say that will be different in Zimbabwe because they have cell phones. Mm-hmm. They see the same thing we see. So you take your chances going across the world to try to find love. And these women can be the very same way, just like the video you posted some time ago about the South African women being, playing for the same team. Men are actually, the guy was actually shocked how many women in that setting had been with women. And it's just like a lot of people abroad are inspired and yearn to be more like Americans or the Western world. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So they're adapting Western culture more and accepting and embracing it.
Absolutely.
This thing's like a virus just spreading amongst.
I mean, it's the agenda. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why social media and technology is moving as fast as it is. It's the agenda, so everybody can be on one accord. Okay. And whose agenda that is, we're not gonna speak on that.
Right.
But
that's another topic for another.
Yeah. But it's working. So if you feel as a man that the women down in Brazil are better than the women in America, you should really test that theory, because they can very much be the same, if not worse.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And this is coming from a woman's perspective, you know what I mean? I know everybody has their different views, but there's two different sides to things, right? It's the right and the wrong. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. And then usually each side has its own results. You can definitely tell it by its fruits. So, my thing is that everything she just said is absolutely accurate. I mean, westernization, spread of that type of culture, it is spreading. I believe it's just based on the level of freedom that they feel that they would have to embrace that culture, rather than going with the safety of an Eastern culture, basic Eastern culture. A lot of cultures that's more structured, not only in its faith or faith, religious beliefs, things like that, in servitude to one another, but also in relationship styles. Because of course here on this channel we talk a lot and promote a lot about polygyny. And in Eastern cultures it's more accepted, it's more of a thing, especially in Africa where you have the polygamy belt. You have Nigeria, Zimbabwe I believe is in that as well. But it's more of a culture there, because they see the benefits and that comes from it. And they do have some of the lowest divorce rates in the world, right? And so we can see that level of happiness coming from those particular areas, because the divorce rates are lower. So meaning people are staying longer and lasting longer in their relationships. As to where Western culture more leads a monogamous type of fake monogamy, phantom monogamy is what what it is basically, because everybody is playing on each other for the most part, but it also promotes women being promiscuous, or being able to step out and be free or whatever, and act like a lady, think like a man, and it's being able to be with multiple men at a time, and that's always the comeback. Is, well, if you can do it, then why can't I? You know what I'm saying? And
it is.
I would say this, right? Before I ask you about this, I would say this. If you feel that way as a woman, I would go and live your life. I think that you should make your own decisions, and I'm not nobody's gonna control your decision making, right, in that area. You feel like you want to be with multiple men, go and do it. I'm just saying you have to find the men that will allow it, right?
And that's no man.
Well, yeah, it's very slim to none. So you're just gonna lessen your odds even more.
Yeah.
Because men are territorial. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They want their woman to be for them,
Mm-hmm.
our women to be for them and all about them,
Mm-hmm.
and not even thinking about anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's just kind of how men operate.
Yeah.
You know, it's a protective instinct as well as a you know, more of a just bred within the man to be protective and to guard something that he believes is his, right? So if he has to die for you, then loyalty is a good requirement. That's a good trade-off. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I agree.
So with that being said, the men, how, you know, because you're a woman and you've dealt with men and you've experienced, I believe, other cultures of men. If I'm not, you know, you've been at, you've you know, talked to them, you've dated them, other cultures of men. You know, and what do you say your experience is like, and what cultures or what culture of men have you dated before?
Seriously dated a Jamaican and an African.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, they say women
They're
go
the
to
same.
Jamaica,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so they can get their rocks off in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So they
Stella
take the
gotta
girls
move back.
trip.
So that's been.
So they
that's
got
been-
male prostitutes in Jamaica now.
Well, you know what? I don't even think it's prostitution. I think
No?
it's just
A
free.
delight.
Yeah, I think it's
They
just
get
how it
paid.
just happens. Really?
They get paid, yeah. Jamaica
Well,
ain't finna not get paid. I mean,
You
them
might be
dudes,
right about that.
They not playing, like, for real. I've heard, listen, they old women, they trick on
Oh
them
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah.
trick on them old women too. So
Yeah.
they getting paid out there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
In my experience, sorry guys. In my experience, I dated the African man the longest,
Right.
and he wasn't the first African man I dated, but in my experience with him, I noticed right away how important it was for me to be taken care of, and
Okay.
it was almost like second nature.
For him.
And for him, yeah, and just his ambition and goals in life they stood out. And then of course you have the fact that they're exotic, so
Okay.
everything-
African men are exotic.
well, sort of, because they have
Okay.
different, customs and things that I don't know.
Traditions.
That I don't necessarily know about being an American girl born and raised here.
Right.
So it did seem a bit exotic when he would tell me about like the different foods and the different things they do in their culture. And then of course the accent is nice. So, and to them too, they're also fascinated by the things you do because it may be new to them too. So there's that excitement of, oh yeah, like just never knowing and it being unpredictable. And I'm big on learning something new from my partner. So just picking up those different things like, oh yeah, did you know, like maybe something in their language or, just little things. So, but what I did also, the downside about these men also is they are, no matter what they tell you, they are traditional.
Okay.
They are traditional.
Okay.
And most of the time that means that they are going to want to marry someone of their own culture and tradition. Yes.
Okay.
So they may play with you, and it happens where these men have American wives and they live a beautiful life, and they stay with these women and they don't have other women in their countries and they're devoted to this American woman. But 8 times out of 10, it's not gonna last. Just because they'll tell you, I want someone who speaks my language, and that's That's just what I've heard. I've heard that said to me by my ex's mom.
Oh,
she
boy.
told me straight out.
I was going to ask you that question. How was it like introducing to the family, like the family acceptance in that space? Like,
you know what? At first, it was extremely difficult, but I think it was because I was too hard on myself.
okay.
His extended family really wanted him to be with a Ghanaian woman, but his mother and father, they loved me right away. The only thing is they didn't speak English. So I had to quickly like learn, the common phrases and just do a lot of like translating, and it can be a bit uncomfortable because you don't know, you're asking somebody to translate this, but you don't know what they're truly saying. And I understood why, if I had a son, I understood why I would want him to be with a woman that was more like me. I understood that.
Right. Right. Okay. So yeah, so she was kind of like against it, based on.
She was on the fence.
Okay.
But once she seen who I was as a person, and we didn't talk much. We just, good morning, Etisen. I'll kneel to show her respect, and
kneel like how? What do you mean?
Kneel, like you kneel.
Oh, like all the way on the knee?
Yeah,
all
on
the way
one
down?
knee. Yes.
Okay.
You have to do that to all your elders.
Okay, and that's what culture is this?
That's the Akan culture in Ghana.
Akan culture.
Mm-hmm. The Akan tribe.
Akan tribe.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, all right. Well, that's respectful.
Yeah.
And I think that personally, I respect the culture that does things like that, like the Japanese culture and the way that they bow and the different forms of bowing. I think that's very, intriguing. And honestly, I think that that's very like more families should have that, adopt that within their own family, and I think that would breed more of a productive society of people
because you remember.
Right.
Yeah. This
show
is
honor,
ultimate
show
respect.
Yeah. So so that's good. So at first she was kind of
Before I actually went over to Africa, we barely even spoke. She would just say hi, real basic.
Was it like a hi, I don't really like you hi?
No, it was just dry. Dry. But when I got there and she seen my zeal to want to, make her son happy, of course, and really get to know who they were, she would do little things like take me out to the farm with her because they had a farm. And just like show me off to her friends, and I didn't know what they were saying, but they were laughing and hugging me and patting me on the back and stuff like that.
Oh boy.
So it was like
really,
but I didn't know.
She was like, this is my son's
concubine.
Concubine. Yeah, she's an idiot, but treat her with respect. Yeah.
Well, I smiled and I hugged them back.
That's lovely.
And when she was in the kitchen, of course I just treated her like as if I would treat my mother.
Okay.
And I think she really loved that. When we were leaving, she was sad to see us go. And she told me through the cousin that I'm the one that made her son come back. So that's why she loves me. Okay. Because before then, he hadn't been back to Ghana since he came to the U.S. Okay. So I thought that was sweet. And even though me and him didn't work out, I still, checked on her and kept an open communication with her. And I would just use Google Translate for the people who want to know. We would talk like that through WhatsApp
she didn't know
until not much at all.
Okay.
Not much at all.
So how did you guys separate?
Who?
You know what I mean? You and
me and my ex.
Yeah.
That's not something I'm really ready to share on this platform. Yeah.
But all right. But you guys separated,
we did.
And the family, of course, I'm pretty sure because it sounds like you guys were really building a strong bond.
Oh yeah.
With the family, everything, adapting cultures, being able to visit, in different countries, which is awesome. Which is, I think, if there's anything that shows acceptance or shows a level of appreciation for a person, it's
Right.
inviting them over
Right.
to your homeland
This
and
is true.
wanting to show them things, right? And being excited about it genuinely. Because me
Mhm.
personally, of course, I dated a woman who's from Ghana,
Mhm.
and immediately once I met her father's like, celebrations in Ghana. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? We're having a celebration in Ghana.
Yeah.
You know, he's immediately, okay, I want you to marry my daughter. It was all for it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And, you know, very nice guy, very humble.
Yeah. Ghanaians are really, really, really nice people.
Right,
Mhm.
right. So, yeah, he was really cool. And I think that, you know, with our relationship, where it was at, and it being able to grow more, I think it would have been no problem with it. Like,
Yeah.
I think we both would think on the same level, you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes to honor, respect, things like that,
Right.
and also how to treat other people, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, basic qualities.
Mhm.
So, that's the main thing.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing, right?
Right.
Is that, you know, you're able to fit or find somebody with great qualities. And family has great morals, great qualities
Mhm.
about it. Because, you know, who wouldn't want that? You know,
Yeah.
you'll
No,
know.
seriously.
Yeah, you'll understand the
You
style.
gotta know the family you're marrying into too. That's so important, because when you aren't seeing eye to eye, is your family gonna tell you to, you know, go away from your husband, or are they gonna encourage you to stay at home with your husband and your marital home and make it work? So.
But that leads me to my next thing, right? In the States,
Mhm.
there is nothing like that. You don't see a lot of families who are bred in the U.S.
Mhm.
with that type of thing, with that type of setup. That's gonna
true.
be like, hey, no, you ain't leaving this man, you staying with this man.
Yeah.
And y'all gonna work this thing out.
Yeah.
Like being a part of it and having those levels of respect, the bowing, the taking the knee
Oh, yeah.
for elders.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that here in the U.S. And I think that's why a lot of these guys are seeking that.
Mhm.
You know, and doing more traveling, trying to find more women who are built that way.
Mhm.
Because you're gonna run into a lot of stuff to where it's like they're gonna encourage you to use this man, abuse him, toss him aside, and then from that trauma that he just experienced with this woman, he's gonna take that to the next
Of course.
relationship.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a perpetuating cycle that's never ending until somebody ends it. You know what I'm saying? We got to step up and be adults at some point and realize what type of society we live in, what type of economy we're living in, what type of everything we're living in, and stop trying to, I guess, make things about ourselves and make it about we as a team, as a whole.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least until you can make it to a point to where, you can chill. You can be off the job as a woman. You
Right.
can be able to say, okay, I helped this man accomplish these things.
Right.
Because it's going to make you even more valuable to him.
Of course. Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've never been against growing with someone. I just think certain women are at a stage where they might have helped someone grow in the past, and it didn't work out the way they wanted it to, and that kind of tarnishes, you know, or stains any other man who very much is starting from the bottom, but is very ambitious and may have, you know, a couple hurdles that he needed to jump over, and now he's not the one because he's starting out, you know, at a basic retail job, and but this man could have easily be saving every penny, every dime, and you don't know what his bank account looks like, and not that that's important, but you just shot yourself in the foot because you didn't take the time to know who he was as a person and his goals and what he's gonna do, the next steps in his life to get there, and the position you could play to get him there. Because a lot of men say it's certain women that make them a better man. So sometimes you just, you know, you gotta go along for the ride, and I think sometimes it is kind of hard for you guys because a lot of times men go along for the ride with women, and all the emotional stress and trauma and the care and the coddling that we may need, and not enough men get credit for that.
Right.
And I think me just having a son, I think about those things all the time, because I want to make sure that he is, emotionally mature to know, hey, yeah, be patient with a woman, be this, be that, but also don't take no shit now.
Right.
Like, don't just take on too much of a burden just because, she fine, or she cooks for you, or she may be submissive, but she's stabbing you in the back. Everything has to make sense.
Right.
Everything has to make sense, and you're worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold your value.
Exactly.
So men, you gotta hold your value. Understand where you're at. Yeah, like she said, just because she may be attractive, just because she may be giving you certain signs of being submission, because honestly, a lot of them who show signs like that could be the ones who, behind closed doors, is actually being either unfaithful, disloyal, whatever it may be, crossing boundaries, things like that. And you're accepting certain things, or you're willing to deal with certain things based on whatever quality you deem to be valuable to yourself. But if she's crossing boundaries, she's doing things like that, know your worth. Know to shut that down. Know to understand, like, hey, draw your lines, draw your boundaries. A lot more women will respect you for it.
Yeah.
And even her, she might straighten up and go ahead and do it the way you desire to do it. But if you let her just walk all over you, she for sure at some point is going to leave. She's going to leave you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just going to be a thing as to where no matter how many chances you gave her, the moment you mess up or you check her about something, is the moment she's gonna be looking to hightail. She's really be a track star. It's time to go. You know what I mean? So know your worth. Keep your value.
Yeah.
Keep your value, and don't allow anybody to just run over you like that. So those are great points you brought up right there, because I think that it's easy for men to fall into that.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
And women know that. We know that. We know that.
So you telling them? Yeah.
Well, shoot.
So women know that, huh?
Of course we know that.
Okay.
We can spot it. We can spot it straight on. We know that. And,
right.
they may say that women are a little, more conniving than men, and that may be true. We just are really intuitive, and I feel like me as a person, I can kind of read energy.
Right.
And, so I peep a lot of things before I even speak about it. But, and other women are the same. Yeah. Intuition.
Okay.
Women intuition is very strong. And it's, it's
is
not
strong.
to be underestimated. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah, you can't take it too lightly. And so, with that being said, you personally, in your experiences, do you feel as though you may have taken a position of manipulation for a man? Like, you manipulate him, how he feels? Because women like to test men. They like to test them and see if they can be able to break them.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
If I'm being honest, yes.
Okay.
I've done it.
Okay.
I've done it, and with those type of men that it was easy for me to do with, we didn't last, because I just can't be with a man that I know I can walk all over. I can't.
And you'll do everything you say.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with doing whatever your woman
There's
expects from you. Or I'm not gonna say everything you say, but I'm just gonna say there's nothing wrong with a man fulfilling the wants of his woman. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I can convince you of something that you would kind of gun-ho on, it just makes me like question
like you held morals to and
yeah,
convince him out of it.
Yeah, it kind of makes me feel like you're unsure of yourself. And me personally, there's women that don't like these type of men, but I like a man's man. I like strong, confident men. And I want to feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to stay in my place.
Okay.
Kind of like, you know.
Okay, yeah.
It just because that's what I grew up seeing from my dad. And he wasn't aggressive. Right. He never even raised his voice towards my mom. But what he said was final. And even with me. And, you know, and we just respect him. And that was that.
Right.
So, like people say, you kind of go after your dad. You search for a man like your dad if he is a great man to you. You search for a woman like your mother if your mother was indeed a good mother to you. So I can't relate to that. I think that is true. Because when I do encounter these men who are kind of like just real soft and don't really have vision and you know, right. I can be that way myself. So I know myself, and I can't be with a person like that because we'll sit around and nothing will get done. And not to say that I don't have drive, but it's nice when the leader of the family is the one encouraging
driving.
Yeah.
Right. And that only makes sense.
It only makes sense, right. Actually.
You only get as far as the leader, right?
Yeah.
You only get as far as that man.
Right.
So, you know, he's got to be wanting to go as far as possible.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the reason why when you listen to a lot of guys when you listen to a lot of guys who promote being a man, being assertive, being an authoritative, right, you know, type of man, and being driven, being focused on goals and purpose, right? This is the reason why they tell you these things. This is the reason why I tell you these things. Mm-hmm. Be focused. Be focused on what you got to focus on. Because the moment you are slacking the moment you are not on your points, on your grind, and you're not focused on your purpose, is the moment you start not only lose yourself, but you start to lose your family. Mm-hmm. We need the families to flourish, thrive, and grow, and be successful families. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, and you, as being the man, you have to lead that. You got to take the charge. You can't rely on a woman to do it, even though she may be capable and strong herself. Right? Because, you know, having a strong woman who understands what to do and how to do it without you is a beautiful tool to have. Mm-hmm. To be able to use, but she doesn't want to carry that burden. Yeah. She don't want to have that burden all the time. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand that it is your burden to bear, and that you need to utilize her as you need, as necessity. If you're incapacitated, it's comfortable to know that, okay, I know she got it. You know what I mean? So as opposed to a woman who's probably clueless, which, you know, they may figure it out, but if they're clueless, then that means they may suffer. So we don't want that. We want them to be strong and taught well to be able to maintain and sustain the home. Now, we got a comment here that we don't have to get from me, Jay, that that young girl, Sexy Red, is a good example of why being the real you is not within your best interest. Mm-hmm. If you think she is doing good because she is being herself. So, what do you think about that?
The real you is going to be exposed regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So even if she went around singing the gospel, right. If she is a Jezebel at heart, it will be exposed. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If she's promiscuous at heart, it's going to be exposed. So I agree, maybe not exposing the real you right away isn't, you know, the best thing to do. But you surely, when dating, I need to know if you down for me. So I am going to give you my raw self, my true self, and it's up to you to decide
So what she means is
Mm-hmm.
that with Sexy Red being her authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
if you see her as being authentic and saying, okay, that shit's dope, like that's the reason why she's so popular. She fired.
That is
She's-
why she's popular.
Right. And then if you think that's a good thing, then you need not to be yourself. Because what she's saying is it's a bad thing. It's
Well,
basically what she's trying to
The
do.
message she's spreading is bad, but
Mm-hmm. Right. But
it's
what?
so many sexy reds. There's so many sexy reds.
Okay.
Like I said, there's city girls. There's
Mhm.
so many women. I mean, even Beyonce has, really sexual exploited things that she's done.
Okay.
And I mean, you just have to make a choice on your own. Like, is this right? Is this conducive to my life? Like, do I do this? Or, am I
Right.
going to listen to this? So, I think she's popular. It's good for her because she's being herself and she gained popularity off of just doing whatever
Being
she
ratchet.
thinks. Yeah, being ratchet. And that's exactly what she is.
Oh, man.
And it's
Terrible.
also good because then it weighs out the ratchet from the not, and
Right.
you'll see the difference in women who live that lifestyle and who don't. So
Mhm.
it's always a good thing. It doesn't matter if it's out there. There's things have been out there since the beginning of time. There's no way to avoid it. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. So my take on this whole comment is in a dating world, dating society, in marriage, and being and conducting yourself like a woman,
Mhm.
right? Taking a position of a sexy red and saying, you know what, she's being herself, and I want to model myself after her because she's being herself.
Mhm.
I would say, yeah,
Hell
no, that's
no.
trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I would agree with her point on that because it's like when you see her and you see a sexy red or Sikiana or something, you want to model yourself after being like just like her. Only things you're gonna really get in this world is you're gonna get tossed aside. You get pumped and dumped. You're gonna
Mhm.
get treated like
For sure.
just a piece of meat.
For
Like
sure.
you're gonna be treated like how you're presenting yourself.
Right. Trash.
Absolutely, you're gonna be treated like trash. You know what I'm saying? Like you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
That's
It's
true.
gonna be a perpetual thing for you throughout your life until you start to correct your behavior. And I do see a lot of women who I've met who I can tell that they're ratchet.
Mhm.
I can tell that they've already been on some shit.
Mhm.
But I can tell that they're looking to try to turn their ways around.
Mhm.
Like you can hear it in their voice, you can hear it in their speech,
Mhm.
and they're tired of being played with.
Mhm.
And it's easy to be able to identify them because
Of course.
you see them. It might be tattoos that they may be having, the way that they dress.
Yeah.
They might have tried to clean it up a bit more based on what they perceive might be modest.
Mhm.
And of course, it's not. Because we got modesty on a biblical level, and then we got modesty in a worldly level,
Right.
and then we have just straight up,
Out there.
whores. Well, if I
Yeah.
can make that, point, women who just don't care, who
Yeah.
has no self worth and value, see through everything. You can see everything. Everything's out.
Yeah.
So my thing is that on an ultimate level of modesty, not only do I believe it protects the woman from society, but
Yeah.
also it gives that woman more respect, more honor.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they value that woman more.
Mhm.
Like they're not gonna be playing with her.
Mhm.
Because they see that she's on a biblical, modest level. You know what I mean? I'm talking dress, hair covering, and that's a biblical level of modesty.
Mhm.
A worldly modesty, even then, is still a level of respect there.
Right.
There's still you being chic in a nice dress, things like that, but making your distinctions between a feminist woman and a woman who's more traditional and understanding the core values of a family.
Mhm.
And then of course, we already know the trash is there,
Mhm.
and the examples of what not to be is there.
Mhm.
But it seems like a lot of them are having fun being what's not to be.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna be free. You know,
Yeah.
and all this other shit, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool, you know, you'll have a good time with that for a while, but after a while you'll get tired of it.
It gets old.
Yeah,
old.
of playing in the streets, you get tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you look up one day, you're 80, you're looking around the room and you're totally alone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would be very surprised by the time we 30, 40 years from now, women aren't more depressed as we go along because they're just absolutely single and they don't have anybody. And they don't have any offspring to be able to look at to say, you know what, I got great grandchildren or grandchildren.
Right.
You know what I mean? A family structure that they can be proud of because they decided to choose the streets and career over family, which they were designed for family, not streets and career.
Right.
Because there's so many women who are more depressed in career and in streets.
Oh, definitely.
Than it is women who are committed to a husband and a family.
Oh, yes.
Who's taking care of home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but you also see a lot of these women online talking shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
And saying whatever they gotta say. A lot of the women who are streets and, you know, for their career, they're online talking shit. And you don't hear shit from the women who taking care of home.
They're too busy.
They too busy, right? Taking care of home. They too busy. They got a whole family to take care of. So you don't necessarily hear a lot from them because they got things they gotta do. They got a purpose they're fulfilling, and I know they feel purposeful.
Of
so
course.
my thing is, you know, I think this movement of pushing women and influencing women to make a more sound decision, not to choose the sexy reds, the silky Hannas, the ones who are out there promoting street life, but choosing a family structure, family life, and being more traditional. What would you say your viewpoints are on those things outside of what I just named and how I just broke that down? Give me your honest opinion as to what you feel your criteria is and who you are as a woman.
My criteria
because we got the three breakdowns. We got a biblical level of modesty. You got the modesty.
And where do I fall in line?
Right, and then of course we got the silky Hannas.
Okay.
We got the sexy reds. You know what I'm saying? So where do you fall in?
Okay.
Where do you fall, and also what is your core values, whether it be traditional, conservative, traditional, liberal, freedom, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I believe I'm like a worldly, modest woman. But I've grown. I wouldn't say I was that deep off into the dumpster.
Okay.
But
okay.
maybe I was hanging around it. You know?
You orbited it a little bit.
A little bit at one point in my life, but with age and having the different experiences, like you said, I just thought about my family, and my mom is a Caribbean woman, and so it's always family first, and you know, you're going to have respect. You know, you're going to always make sure that you conduct yourself in a way that is honorable, and when people see you, you know, you're not tarnishing anybody's name, and you know,
slandering them,
exactly,
faming them,
yeah. So although I did, you know, dibble and dabble and wanted to be something I clearly wasn't raised to be, I still had that switch, and it always just went off like, hey, no, that's not what we're doing, and that's not who you are. So there's that, and what was the last bit of the question?
Family structure. What do you feel? Yeah,
is important.
Right. To you.
Like I keep saying, respect. You know, just always making sure that. I mean.
Like core beliefs.
It's so difficult when it's on the spot.
Traditional, like core beliefs. So you believe like traditional beliefs, like family. Women should be family driven more.
Okay.
You got liberal beliefs is where, you know, they feel like that women should be more career driven
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
I can't put a label on what I believe because I am very much into my career at this point, but I'm also not married. So, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but it would be a goal of mine to be home with the kids, be there for my husband when he returns from work, but still have something going on for myself. Still have some type of establishment for us, just in case we need to fall back on me a little bit. I don't desire to just sit at home and be a housewife and but so I would say it's a bit of tradition mixed with liberal, mixed with conservative. It's just a little bit of everything.
So you prefer to work? You prefer to?
I wouldn't mind working.
Plus, this man is working.
I wouldn't. No, I don't want to slave. I don't want to. I want it to be an option.
Right. So if you make your goal amount, then great. If you don't, not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. It's just I just want it to be fun for me.
Okay.
And an outlet, something that I have for myself, that makes me happy.
Okay. So it's safe to say, like, being a chase keeper at home is not something that you're kind of desiring to be.
A chase keeper
meaning like not working, stay at home mom.
No.
Not a desire for you. Not
No.
like, okay,
Now,
I hope this is in the cards one day.
No. That's never been. Even as a little girl, I've never dreamt of being like a Stafford. What is it called? A Stepford wife?
Stafford wife.
I've never. That's never been my dream. I've always wanted to, just because I've seen my mom work hard and she didn't really have to. My dad took care of us. Even from prison, he took care of us.
Wow.
But she still, it's in her nature.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't just sit home and, sit back all day. And that doesn't mean that she wasn't involved in my life and everything I had going on. I was in ballet. I was on the dance team throughout high school, in band in college, and she was there for everything. Both of my parents were there for everything. So that doesn't mean that you're gonna, miss out on a part of your children's life, your husband's life, your life.
There you go.
I think if you're capable of it, why not? But if you have the desire to just because I have my desires, and then another woman may very much want to be at home, making sure, everything's tidy, and not to say that I wouldn't do those same things. It's just different women, different desires.
Different women, different desires.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you mentioned your father. He was in prison.
Mm-hmm.
How was it for your mother in having to fulfill the role of being, the sole provider, sole leader? What was the change? Do you recall the change?
Recall the change very much so. My dad went to prison when I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
And not to say my mom wasn't. I just remember being a daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. And I wanted so badly for my dad to do every little thing with me. And that doesn't mean my mom wasn't taking care of business around the house, because that's not true. It's just that I wanted my dad to give me a bath. I wanted my dad to take me to school. I wanted my dad to even do my hair. Mm-hmm. So when he went to prison, and so I say that to say, me and my mom's relationship was kind of like I felt like I didn't really know my mom.
She's a single child, y'all, so she's
got
the syndrome. If y'all can't tell. Well, go ahead, keep going.
What you mean by that?
I'm just poking at you. Yeah.
So I felt like I didn't really get to know my mom,
mm-hmm.
if I'm just thinking back, until it was just me and her. So when it was just me and her, yeah, she was very strict, very, very, very strict. And I came to notice that she was strict because she was being instructed to be strict by my dad.
Okay.
You know,
I see.
from far away. So there was a lot of things I didn't really engage in or get into as a child.
So you're pretty sheltered.
Yeah, pretty sheltered.
Okay.
Yep. But extremely trusted.
Okay.
Yeah, so they, I grew up in New York, so I did ride trains and buses by myself at a very young age. I had my like a key to my house when I was like, this is gonna sound crazy. When I was like 6 or 7.
Okay.
You know, like.
So you had some autonomy, like at a young age, like you kind of were self-aware, and you also had like some I guess responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Like, it would be times where my mom she was a funeral director when we were in New York.
Funeral director? Like telling people where to be and go?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Yeah. So there will be times where she'll, tell me, hey, throw that stuff in the oven. And it was just like I had to have it done. If not, when she got home.
So you were home alone?
Most of the time. Sometimes I would be with my uncle, my mom's baby brother.
Okay.
And that was basically like being home alone, because when I was, around 8, 9, 10, he was like 17.
Okay.
So he wasn't like a grown man or anything yet. He was still like in his teens. So, yeah. But I did notice a change, but it also made me appreciate my mom and the woman that she was a lot when I came to understand like what was actually going on and what holding a man down is. Yeah.
And being like a single mother in that situation.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we picked up and moved to Texas, and at first I didn't really understand why. I believe I was 10 or 11. But when you're older and you find out, you put 2 and 2 together. Like, okay, this is why. I really did grow to respect my mom, and I know that she did the best that she could to make sure that I was safe and to make sure that
Shout out moms.
Yeah.
Shout out moms.
That's my boo.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. Like,
that was a bit of my upbringing.
That's the thing though, is that I think of course we got the song that came out, the single mom song.
Never heard it.
Really? You never heard it?
Man,
I might have to see if we can play it on here, but I think that song not only it's helping bring more awareness to decision making for women,
right? But
also it kind of brings a sense of detachment from what single mothers have to go through on a day-to-day basis, right? Not bad decisions, the tough decisions that she has to make day in and day out to be sure that the house is in good standing,
right?
And things, and it kind of pokes fun at those struggles that they may have. Because me personally, I grew up, my father also was in prison, as I was growing up. And my mother was also a single mother at that point. And she had to do whatever she could to make sure that we were fed and things was taken care of. And in my opinion, she did the best she could and a fantastic job of not only of keeping us stable in the structure, you know what I mean, but teaching us some morals, right? You know what I mean? Me personally, some morals, right? Just me, because I can't speak for anybody else, but me personally, like yes. So my thing is that some of the things that the tough decisions he had to make is sometimes we would be alone at home.
Yeah. And
we would have to learn how to cook. Yeah. We'd have to learn how to fend for ourselves and be instructed. My older sister, she was the one who kind of was regulating.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
whipping the ship.
She kind of had to do what she had to do, and it was pretty interesting because I remember, or I recall a time where I believe my brother made everybody some burgers, and he went in there, he cooked some burgers or whatever, and what we thought he did, it looked good. His house was cool, wasn't nothing on fire. Okay, he did. Listen, it seemed like he did a great job.
Okay.
And it seemed like it didn't take very long either. You know what I'm saying? So he pulled them burgers off. We bit into them burgers. That thing about had a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think everybody was kind of sick after that. You know what I mean? So these are. But it teaches the children. They have to be molded and shaped into being more like an adults. But there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because if you go back to 1950s, 1960s, them children were out at 5 years old, working coal mines, working so we can't be soft on the generations to come, right? Like we have been with participation trophies, when their grandfathers and grandfathers were working in coal mines.
I'm telling
you feel me? Dirty. You know what I mean? So there's no rite of passage anymore to become a man. You know what I mean? Like you're participating, you get a trophy. That's the worst shit you can ever. You know what I mean? Or to become an adult, proper teaching to become an adult. All of that shit out the window. That's a different video for a different time.
Yeah.
But
But it is.
Absolutely, it's tough. But as a single mother who's taking care of things, it's like, what would you say that level, what would you want to add on to that? To say, hey, even though, of course, decision making is a part to play, but we can't negate the fact that that's still a tough job. Like you gotta wear both hats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why a lot of judgment shouldn't really be placed on these things, and single dads too, because you have to, like you said, you have to play a role that you have no idea about, and so you do your best, and you really just pray for for everything to work out, and for your kids to appreciate you.
Right.
And and that's, you said a thing earlier, that your mom did the best that she could, and that's like my biggest thing. That's what I tell my mom all the time when we have our heart to hearts, because she sometimes feels like I missed out on on something important, and I tell her like, no.
Childhood experiences.
Yeah, I because I did a lot as a child. But I always tell her, Mom, you did the best that you could, and you don't need to worry about that anymore. We're fine. Everything's fine. I'm a good person. I'm a good child. She'll say it. I've made a few mistakes, but there's things that my cousins who come from 2 family homes sometimes, or another single parent home, that they're doing things that I wouldn't even think about doing. So, when you sit back and think about it, I feel like as parents, we're always going to have that guilt. Whether it's a 2-parent home, it's 1-parent home, you just always never feel like it's enough for your children. So, I mean, as a single mother myself, I have that same mom guilt when I, may go out for dinner with my girls, and I'm thinking about what they're doing here at the house, and are they gonna be wondering where's mommy, and why is it late and she's not here, or if I'm at work, and sometimes my daughter asks me, can I not go to work today? Like different things, and that's not possible at the moment. So there's gonna be things that come up, but just you gotta keep going. Yeah.
Now, so how many children do you have?
I have 2 kids. Yeah.
You have 2 children. Kids are goats or baby goats.
Okay, I have 2 children.
But so 2 children. What's the genders?
A boy and a girl. So
Okay.
yeah, my eldest is 5 years old. That's the girl, and my son is 2.
Okay. So that's the young.
Oh well, he's 3. He just turned 3.
Wrecking ball.
Yeah, yeah, that's my man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Having my daughter, I thought it was gonna be easy. She was calm from birth. You know, just sweet. I said I could do this again. Right. And I got my firecracker, so
right.
It's a good balance.
Right, you know, he will bring you a perfect balance. The Most High will bring you a perfect balance, and you know that's balance.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what it is.
But you know, so your day-to-day life is like, I'm not too sure. Like it seems like or sounds like it may be a bit chaotic.
Oh, extremely.
Okay, so because you got like certain things that you gotta kind of run through. You gotta go. Okay.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it is a bit chaotic, and that could be a little intimidating when dating, because for one, I don't know how to. If it ever got there, I don't know how to bring guys into that atmosphere, or if you know it's even. You know, you know, it's just weird to bring people into your space and and just bringing them around my children, and they're at an age where there is some difficulties, and because I'm not with them all the time as a mother, there can be a little bit of things to work on, and it can be a bit intimidating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Intimidating overall, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and from both sides. I'm talking about guys being intimidated by me being a mother of 2, and then me as well bringing guys into my space, and wondering how my children would adapt to this man, and if they'll be comfortable. And what he brings into the situation is just like, I mean, could we date and you never, could we?
And never meet the children?
I mean, that's not realistic, right? Because
definitely
not. I would love to be with one man and have a husband, but it's just those things do cross my mind.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so in the things that you say day-to-day life, right? Would you say that how would you feel, if you had another woman to be able to help you out on a day-to-day life? Because like I said, on this channel we do promote and talk about polygyny, right? And one of the biggest things is that level of sacrifice that you have to make every day, and having people with you who is able to do life with you, and able to help with the children, being sure they're good. What would you say to something like that? How would you feel about something like that? And I know this is a bit off topic, but I'm just curious.
That's okay. When you say it like that, of course, I say hell yes. Please.
Okay.
Right. Please. Who doesn't want a helping hand? Like I said, and then when it's someone who's family or someone you consider family, it's just even you can take a deep breath and you don't have that guilt. That you would have with a total stranger. So yeah, I will be accepted to that. As long as, of course, I trust her, and my children have a bond with this individual, and they trust her, and it's almost like they have to be asking for this person, like, where is such and such, or and really enjoy being around her. Yeah, and she really enjoyed being around them. So, in that aspect, that is a plus of polygamy. the stress being off your shoulders in certain areas, and you being the same help to the other woman in whatever aspect in her life. So that is a plus.
That is a plus
For us, for women.
Yeah, that I believe.
And for men. For men too.
For men as well, I believe it is. Many hands make light work. So, but based on relationships, especially here in the States where monogamy is driven, right, and driven everything right into the ground. I mean, create a lot of trust issues, a lot of issues with of course infidelity, which is trust.
Right.
So my thing is that taking that relationship style and actually being able to open it up, peel back the layers, and be honest about what's inside and exposing it for what it is, I think it will help people mental health, everything overall. But the culture that we have here in relationship and dating right now currently is a culture of do what thou wilt. And that's just kind of what it is. It's an Aleister Crowley relationship style. And that's what's promoted. Do what thou wilt. The women feel as though they want to do what the men do, and the men want to do what the women do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they don't even want to step up and be men, and they want to operate out of emotions, and they want to go off and not only lie to the woman that they're committed to, but they want to act on impulse and urges and feelings and emotions, which is not a trait of a masculine man. A trait of a masculine man is going to be precise in how he feels, and it's going to take him a while to get into those feelings portions of it, right? He's going to always analyze. But when you're raised by single women and you're a man being raised by single women, you tend to adapt certain qualities of women,
of course,
and not necessarily of men, right? Because it takes a man to raise a young man, and it takes a woman to nurture him. You understand what I'm saying? So that balance is always key. And that's why we're dealing with the society that we're looking at now today. That's why it has been created, and I believe that women have been told that they've been in the right for so long that they don't even realize when they're wrong now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta realize your mistakes and accept accountability for those things. And like they say, accountability is a woman's kryptonite. What do you think about that being a woman's kryptonite? Accountability, being able to accept accountability. Do you believe, coming from a woman's perspective, do you believe, and I'm going to go based on percentage, okay? We're not going to paint a broad brush, because there is women out here who can say, you know what, I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? But there's a vast majority of women that's like, I don't care what I did, I'm not going to admit it, and I'm going to gaslight you. Meaning I'm going to flip it. Oh, you saw me doing it? Well, I saw you doing this, and then the waitress was doing this with you, and making her own googly eyes and doing this, that, and third. Now you're gaslighting him, flipping it, but not accepting it. So what do you think?
I just think all these things are a phase.
Right.
They're a phase.
It's a phase?
For sure.
Okay.
I think everyone they come to a point in their lives where you mature and you realize, that ain't right. Well, I know for me, because I have been the type to gaslight. I have flipped the script.
Right. And
this is all, I've done this unknowingly, but when you're called out for it, and someone makes you see that this is what you're doing, then you can learn a lesson, right? But I do think that is difficult for my gender, to admit they are wrong, because like you said, we've been taught for a man to apologize and make sure he does this and that, not to disrespect you, and different things that lead to sis, you right. No matter what, you're right.
Now, would you say that if we were to go overseas, let's say that we chose Zambia
Okay.
Or let's say we chose, Indonesia. Or the Philippines. Do you believe that their family would encourage them to be unaccountable for their actions?
Absolutely not.
You think so? No?
Absolutely
No?
not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. If any of y'all, okay, and I know you're speaking of different countries, but if any of y'all have the time, go watch an African movie and make sure it's extremely dramatic. When I tell you,
like how
the
extreme
village,
though?
extremely dramatic.
Extreme. Okay. All right.
The village people will gather. And this is people from your village as a woman. So your husband may be an outsider from another part of the land. They will have you on your knees,
Absolutely.
kissing dirt to ask for your husband's forgiveness. And it could be that it could be that he went outside the house, slept with another woman, and you decided to pack all your shit and go.
That's the problem.
Yes.
He slept with some other woman,
and
she
you
left.
decided to leave.
And
because you just don't do that.
Get your ass back over there.
So
can you guys imagine that here in the States? Can you imagine that being the culture that the woman who found out that her husband slept with another man and she left. She got in trouble. The family was like getting on her and told her to get her ass
They'll
back.
watch her but right back.
Right, get on her knees.
So and apologize. And his father is probably gonna be there, and his mother, because now that is an embarrassment to your father and your mother and your family. That you just think you could just leave your husband's house. What? Right. So can you imagine what the extent would be if you actually did something that's wrong, or that's on your side? So that's not happening.
Maybe a stain on the family.
Right. That's
her reputation, the family's reputation. And I think that's what we don't have enough in the States.
Yeah, we don't have enough culture
of people who care about the reputation of themselves and their family. And I think there's more family members who would treat each other very well, just to continue on a family legacy, and also would treat others very well, just because they got to continue on this family legacy, this family name.
Absolutely.
And if we had more of it, I believe that there would be so much more of a more peaceable culture of people, but also unity, because when you have the other people who looking to disrespect, they coming up against them.
Yeah, you can't get in.
And what type of relationships do we have in family structures now? We got family members that are in families right now that see other families do wrong to other family members. Don't even say a word. Don't step in. Don't try to regulate. Don't try to help. Don't try to isolate the problem and let them know hey, you need to relax. If we have more families that would say, you know what, we got issues in this family in these areas, and they say, hey, let's attack those areas because those are weakest points. That's how real family thinks. Real family thinks on that level. You know what I'm saying? As to where, I'm just going to close my mouth. No, you're going to speak up and you're going to say what needs to be said to defend and protect the family's legacy and name. If you want to breed a better culture within your family, you're going to do it. So that is interesting, because this is the dynamics and differences between here and overseas. Man, let me give a shout out to Solomon King, man, our moderator, who has been doing a fantastic job, man, making sure that everybody understands what's going on, what to do. Man, I really appreciate you, brother. And of course, he's one of our longest standing members of the Warsheep Podcast thus far. So shout out Solomon, man. Bless you, man. For sure. All praises to you, brother. And to the Most High for having you here and committed to the Warsheep family. Definitely much love to you, man. Yes sir, appreciate you, much love. And so when we have that dynamic, right, and we can say, okay, these cultural differences, and then of course the westernized culture is starting to creep in a bit in that type of, in the eastern side, of course they're fetishizing America and the way America's doing things in America. I was playing chess online, because I do that, right? I play online chess.
Okay.
And so I was playing chess online with this guy. He was from Romania.
Okay.
And we just happened to get into a conversation because sometimes I like to talk a little bit of shit. You know what I mean? I'll just put it out there real quick. And he was kind of, talking a little trash back. And, I friended him on there. We kind of wound up being buddies or whatever. Mm-hmm. But he started to speak about the presidency within the states. Mm-hmm. And he started to talk about Biden and how strong and how powerful Biden was. And I was just like, oh, really?
So? Right.
He's like, man, I told him, like, man, this guy can't even remember to put his diaper on straight. Like, no. He's like, well, how could you talk about him like that? I'm like, you know what?
You're right.
Your perception. No. I'm like, your perception on the American presidency here in the States is obviously controlled. Mm-hmm. So they actually are showing you what they want you to see.
Of course.
You know what I mean? They're showing you what they want you to see, which is possibly power, possibly strength, and that's all the world may be seeing. But here in the States, we're seeing a man who's deteriorating.
Right before our eyes.
Right before our eyes. The moment he took presidency, it was a wrap for him. It's almost like his brain turned to mush. I don't know what they did, but it's like his brain just exploded, and now he's a shell of a man who's being kind of ushered around just because he's a puppet.
He has the title.
He's a puppet. He's being, allegedly, I don't want anybody to try to, demonetize just based on that accusation of being a puppet. But let's keep it honest. The brother looks like a puppet. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The guy looks like a puppet. He's being moved around, ushered around, and he can't even remember which way to exit stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any of those things. Can't put a straight sentence together. It's embarrassing. The presidential debate, right? This is all topic, but listen, the presidential debate was a shit show for him.
Yeah.
Trump walked all over him, and I think that Trump felt bad about it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he was like, man, I feel bad doing this guy like this, man. It was like Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. Like, I gotta shit on this guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
with
like
no effort. Mm-hmm.
It was effortless, man. Babbling, like running on, like not even really saying anything that's worth making sense. Mm-hmm. So I say all of that to say this: the perception that the world has of the U.S. is totally different from the reality within the U.S.
Yeah.
And the amount of destruction that it's causing for the culture, for the family structure, for the economy, right? Economically. And, once they start to adapt the culture more, they're going to start to witness that within their own state, within their own countries.
Right.
Because of course the continent of Africa has all these countries, but they also have a blanket understanding that homosexuality is banned.
Oh yeah.
That they will not tolerate it. And how much long would that be fortified? How much longer would that stand if people start to push it more? If people start to really get brave about it? You get what I'm saying? And that westernized culture has influenced them. You know what I mean? So I think, people who are out there, right, who's across the pond, if you guys see a U.S. culture, a westernized culture, and you fetishizing it, you think it's the shit, you really need to consider your behavior and what you're being influenced to do, right? And consider whether it's beneficial for you or if it's detrimental to you. And which, me personally, I think is to your detriment. And I think it's systematically done to either control your mind, or control what you're all about.
Right.
Production of having offspring or seed, families. But if they can control your mind, they can control your food, they can control you. Right?
Yeah.
So, and I digress. It's just...
It's a broad spectrum.
Right. But it's interesting. It's interesting to compare the two together and just do a compare and contrast. So that way, we see what it is, because the Bible says that we should seek the days of old, right? Like that we should go back to the old paths, the way that things used to be with everything. And if we were to really think about our families and relationships within the families and relationships that we can build with each other, and saying, you know what, if we were to seek the old paths and start to wanting to desire to have our wives, right, or have a wife and work toward a goal of getting land, of getting true assets under us, right, building a family trust and being able to have generational wealth passed down. Well, all of that really starts with acquiring your own land. You know, if you acquire your own land, that right there would mitigate a lot of resources going out of the home and back into the home. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you have opportunities to not only for agriculture, because you can sustain the family. Not, you don't have to worry about going to grocery stores as much. And you know, you can be able to build and grow on your own plot of land, which to where, of course, taxes, you can avoid certain taxation. There's certain things you can do to mitigate the funds going out, and it can circulate within your family, within your community, your tribe, whatever, 10 times over before it leaves, just like the rest of these cultures of people. You know what I mean? So I think most, especially our culture of people, the melanated or black community that is in the U.S., need to kind of be thinking on this level more and more as time goes on. You know what I mean? Especially as we can see with Biden in office, we had COVID that just passed not so long ago.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here, guys.
Yeah, we gotta start making some real sound decisions, especially when building and growing a family. Because they're gonna be looking at you crazy because you ain't set something up for them for the future.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're gonna be looking at you crazy like, damn, what happened?
High and dry.
So that's the biggest thing. So is there anything that you would say when it comes to other cultures, right, and their level of dating? Like, how do you believe that they actually court each other or date each other? Is there a series of processes, right? Or are they kind of like how is it kind of, because you know, like in American culture, it's kind of like shotgun. It's like, okay, yeah, we be together now, like type shit. First day, first met, whatever. Okay, yeah, we going. You know what I'm saying? But in other cultures, are they a little bit more like decisive about certain things?
I'd like to say yes. Just from having different friends from different cultures, I think they kind of weed out, and from a woman's perspective, they weed out these men. You know, they take their time to kind of figure out, is he going to be someone that I can take home?
Okay.
So, off the rip, if you some are as extreme as if you have tattoos, if you have anything like physically about you that's displeasing, it's already enough.
Right.
So although I may very much, you know, like how you look, it's not something that my father would accept. I do believe that they take their time, because a lot of the women in overseas are still at home.
Okay.
So with their parents, so it's not a lot of like late nights, early morning type of.
So the women
thing.
Are staying home.
Yeah.
With their families.
Yeah.
And is that until like they get married?
Right, until they're married. One of my best friends is Palestinian, and her sisters. I mean, she at the moment they are here in America, but her sister is maybe, I think she's 35, and she still does live at home because she's not married.
Okay, 35.
Yes.
Does she have a career?
She does.
Okay.
She's a pharmacist.
And she's in pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
This is a pretty decent career.
Oh yeah.
And at 35, she could literally easily go and get her own place.
Absolutely.
Have her own space and things like that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean, as a pharmacist.
Yep.
Okay, so it wouldn't be far-fetched for her to be able to sustain her own living.
Oh,
but
no.
she chooses to be at home to respect and honor her family.
Of course, because to them there's nothing else to do. Of course, you have the option, like her sister which is my best friend, she does have her own apartment, which is in Beaumont, but that's only because she is also a pharmacist and her job is in Beaumont.
And you
that's
said this is who?
My best friend.
Yeah, okay, cool. And she has her own place in Beaumont.
Yeah.
And you know, what culture she come from?
She's Palestinian.
And she's Palestinian.
Yeah, but her older sister lives at home because her job is local. Well, I'm not even going to say that. It's just culturally. Their brothers who are not married still live at home.
Okay, right. It's just the one who decided, you know what?
Yeah.
I want my own space.
Yes,
Okay.
and that is because she had an opportunity in Beaumont, and that was the
paid
first.
pretty well.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the first option for her.
Okay,
So she went
all
along
right.
with it.
So
But-
they didn't just kick them all out at 18.
Oh no.
You see
Oh,
what
no.
I'm saying? So the culture in the U.S. of once you 18, you got the hell out of my house.
Oh yeah.
I think that's been the worst disease of a mindset, right? That's some stinking thinking. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because you know you are sending them. First of all, let's analyze this. Let's break this down right to a decibel. You are sending them to a public food system that is teaching them how to do mathematics, reading, whatever, algebra, shit that they may not even use on a day-to-day basis besides reading and writing, right? And they're learning all these different things, like how to do mathematics using letters and things like that. But they're not learning basic skills of how to survive in the world, credit, understanding how to balance a checkbook, understanding the difference between trust and estate, things like that. But your mindset is, as a parent, as somebody who loves them, is once they turn 18 and they become an adult, get the hell out of my house. Like, how do you truly love them and you're going to send them out there to fend for themselves and they don't know what the hell they're doing? They don't even understand because you don't have time to teach them. You're too busy chasing your career.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that we should really adapt a different mindset so we can be able to set them up for better success for their own personal lives. Like, you know, this is not, and I know you might be tired, but either way, find you a nice family to join, or find you another woman you can have join your family to help take off the load, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But don't send your children out to a world that does not care if they understand credit or how to properly utilize business credit or how to build a company and earn income. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? So you should give them time to build and develop themselves as an adult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? First, before you send them out to do adulting by themselves, right? Or teach them as they're young.
Yeah.
And get them set up and have them established so they can be successful adults.
Right.
So I just wanted to say that for a minute. You know what I mean? I think that not too many people say it enough. You know what I mean? Like to restructure your mind to help your children be more successful. And this is all part of relationships here in the U.S.
Yeah.
The culture is totally different once you go across the pond.
No, it is.
You have whole families and uncles and aunts and shit like that live in the same hut. Not even the same house, the same hut, a small space.
Right.
Very happy though.
Yeah.
But they're very satisfied and happy with it, right? And their main goal is to get their daughters married and their sons strong enough to support their own families.
Right.
So, so huge differences.
Yeah, and like I was saying, these women, they take their time, and if they don't take their time, there's no such thing as a talking phase or a boyfriend phase. It's straight marriage. That's the end goal for these women. There's no, I just want to be your boyfriend or your girlfriend for a year and see how it goes. No, ma'am.
Right.
Marriage is the goal.
Marriage is it. You
And
ain't trying to play around.
Don't
even bring him around unless he.
Exactly that.
Right.
Don't bring him around unless he's ready to ask for your hand in marriage. And most of these girls, I know I have a lot of African girlfriends too. You won't even know they're dating.
Okay. All right now.
Until her and that man have discussed, yeah, I'm gonna probably propose to you around this point in time.
Right. Yeah,
And that's when you might see him pop out, and you're like, oh, you had a boyfriend? Yeah, we've been dating for
They've been
3
low-key,
years.
though.
Yeah.
They've been real
But
low-key.
you would never know because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it if it isn't your husband.
Right.
And that's a fact. I feel that 100%, and I wish that
Man.
I was raised that way.
You know.
Because I probably would have alleviated a lot of things that I've been through in life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I
It
agree
would
with
have
that.
alleviated. Yeah.
Same thing on a man's from a man's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding how to properly choose a woman is like gold to a young man.
Yeah.
Going and pursuing his own family, right? And also developing, because me growing up, seeing examples from the guys who are around me,
Mm-hmm.
they all they want to do is go to Pound Town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We going to Pound Town all day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Okay, this is about you need to deal with a woman and go to Pound Town, right?
Mhm.
That's the ultimate goal. When for me it was like I didn't really have a heart for that type of culture.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is that having that example, it's never taught. Hey, you need to find you a woman who's a solid woman who's going to be a great wife too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No one's ever really made mention of that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, find you somebody with these type of qualities, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, my mother may have mentioned certain things here and there, but it wasn't an extensive teaching because she was too busy being super mom.
Right.
You can't think about certain things and let me make sure of this first.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it hasn't been instilled in you growing up,
That's
right?
True.
So it's like we have a generation after generation of choosing not to teach each other how to choose proper people to deal with, people who stands with morals and values, who has a higher power, who they fear and know that they can't do wrong by other people, or else wrong will come back to them. Understanding the laws of what the Most High has set for this world and universe, right? And that if you do wrong will come back.
Right.
And that that choosing the right person, like it says in scripture, like it's when you find a wife, you find a good thing.
Right.
And Proverbs 31 teaches you a criteria of what you should look for. We didn't spend a whole lot of time learning that. Especially when you're growing up in church, right? When you're growing up in church, whether it be a Christian church or whatever, they don't teach you anything like that. They teach you how to submit.
Sin. Yeah, exactly.
Right, or how to sin is come as you are and stay as you are.
Yeah.
No, it ain't even repentance. It's come as you are, stay as you are. Because we're going to accept you regardless, right? But, but we're not speaking on conviction.
Right.
Making you convicted, but also teaching you, hey, this is what a woman should be. And then also the scriptures, because the scriptures is going to tell a woman to submit every time.
Right.
Right? But if they're trying to teach the woman to be the authority so they can drag the man in the church to tithe, then how are they going to be able to preach a sermon on submission?
Yeah.
Because they're going to lose half or majority of their audience. Within the women are going to walk the hell out. They're like, man, submit. What?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With these... submit. They're gonna manifest right there and walk the hell out. You're gonna lose half your congregation preaching about submission for women. So, but whatever the Most High ordains is gonna be blessed, and you should always just preach the truth of what the message is. But my thing is that when we have a culture that has not instilled that or brought that to the forefront for every child and every man to consider, it's like you just running wild.
Yeah.
It's when you have it to where they just out here just dealing with women, breaking their hearts, right, running through them, and those women deciding, you know what, I'm gonna play a little bit too because I keep getting played. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The guy won't commit. You know what I mean? That's why I tell you to ask about the shirt. You know what I mean? What's going on? Is he having trouble with committing to things? Whatever it may be, find something that he's had for a very long time and see how long he's had it, if it's wear and tear on it, and why he's keeping it around, So
you know what's funny about that? I think when me and you first reconnected, you asked me if I can bake.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
from vice versa. But
Okay, yeah.
I remember that.
And so the answer was what? You remember what that?
I'm
the
not
reply?
a great baker. No, I'm not. But he asked me that to see if I can follow instructions. Because baking, you have to follow a recipe by the recipe, or else it can turn out bad, or it just won't turn out
too dense
right.
or too.
Yeah.
When you're a baker, you have to follow the instructions. When you're a cook, you can cook from the heart, from the soul. You can wing it. You dash the salt here. You can salt bay that joint. And it'll turn out as a beautiful dish that tastes great. But when you're a baker, you put too much baking soda in there, it's too dense.
Right.
You put too much sugar in there, it's too sweet. You know what I mean? So you have to follow precise instructions in order to do it. So if a woman can bake, she can follow a man. Because she can follow instructions.
There you have it.
So, now that applies to a lot of women, but it don't apply to them all, because some of them still trash. But 9 times out of 10, you can discover a woman who can follow a good recipe is a woman who can follow a good man. So I think that's another reason why Kevin Samuels would ask a woman, how many recipe books do you have in your house? You know what I mean? And where did they come from? Were they passed down from grandma? What's going on? Where's the recipe books at? Because he wanted to determine whether or not she enjoys to follow recipes. What's going on with it? You know what I mean? So, it's the same thing, same concept, so yeah, that's a good point. And, if you're not a baker, start. It's not even that hard.
For sure.
Right? Start baking, so that way you get that question again. Or if somebody asks you that question, you like, yeah, hell yeah, I know how to bake. What you want me to bake you? Me personally, my thing is cheesecake.
Okay.
So, that's not an easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get that right.
You gotta get it right. You gotta get it on point. So yeah, so
I don't feel like enough men are sharp enough to even ask those type of questions these days.
Man, I don't know, like what are we asking about? Like what do men ask you? What questions do you get like in the dating world? Like to where they're just like are they trying to get to know you at all, or like
yeah, for the most part, but things that really isn't their business, like about my career.
Okay.
Why didn't it work with the last man?
Oh, that's a terrible question.
Just
horrible
and
question.
The worst of them all is, what do you look for in a man? I never reveal this. I never reveal this.
Right.
Because I've seen that men kind of use that tactic to pretend to be exactly what you described until they win you over and know they got you in a place where
so they like mold themselves, they're a chameleon, just mold themselves into what you say.
And I'm not going to say men, but I've witnessed
based on who you
who I've dealt with, that has happened, and those are the 3 most popular questions. Are you and your ex still together? Do y'all still mess around?
Y'all not asking women that off that. Oh, come on, man. Get a couple dates in. At least 2 dates.
What's going on between you and your baby daddy? Or, why y'all, break up?
Right.
Are you really single? And, it just shows me the women that they're coming into contact with, and I'm like, damn, we out here doing it like that.
Right.
We out here doing it like that, ladies.
Trying to be safe for real. Man, listen, y'all need to stop asking questions like that. You ask some more lighthearted questions, fellas. Like, engage with what would trigger, with who she is, what would actually make her respond, to you. Like, one of my favorite questions. Well, first of all, a bit of hello, how are you type of situation, just formal introduction, and then going into a, hey, I'm about to start this. I'm about to start asking you a flurry of questions. Are you ready? That excites. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Listen. It's always exciting. Are you ready? You wait for them to respond. Are you ready? Flurry of questions. Are you ready? First of all, you defuse the whole situation of her feeling like she's on a job interview because this is a game now. We're having fun. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? You defuse the whole job interview thing. You're able to get some questions out that's not going to be penetrating, but that's going to be lighthearted, getting to know her. But these questions are going to actually determine whether who she is as a person or not.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be able to really gauge things based on what you ask. My first question off bat is always, what's your top 3 favorite songs?
Yeah.
What's your top 3 favorite songs? I love asking that question. Here's the reason why I love asking this question. Okay? It's because, do she know herself? Has she spent time with herself? Does she understand what type of things that she likes and dislikes? Can she be precise in it? She has to be precise. Why? Because she only has 3 options. You don't have, no. And even if you try to give me 2, I'm not going to accept 2. I want 3.
Okay.
And that's my foot down. You can't give me 2. I need 1 more.
Yeah.
So you have to choose 3. But then you choose her song selection.
Right.
Will tell you everything.
Yeah.
If she chooses a couple R&B joints, old school joints that's like, hitting, let's say it's like, Love, from, what's the guy's name? Let's say Music Soul Child. Let's say it's Luther Vandross. And then let's say she says Big Lotto.
Give me a second.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then, and let's say she says Big Lotto. Then you would make a decision that, you know what, she loves these things, but she has a song that comes from Big Lotto, and it talks about certain things that I don't agree with, right? Or something like that, but it determines who she is. I mean, it's okay to have one ratchet song that I feel. If she has gospel songs, then I'm like, okay, she's really connected with Yah. She's really connected with the Father. If she has a bunch of R&B songs, I'm like, okay, she's really connected with love and wanting to be loved. If she has a bunch of ratchet songs, Sexy Red, Big Lotto, Megan Thee Stallion, it's time to run. You understand what I'm saying? It's time to go ahead and cut this off because now I need to determine what type of direction she wants to go in, right? What she's listening to or what she's listening to, is what perception she has on reality, is what she's hearing in her ear gates. So I'm determining all these things based on one question that defuses, but also is a fun, lighthearted question that's not penetrating, right? That's not, what happened to your last ex? Which I don't care to know. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want to be judged, neither does she. So she don't want you to know all that right away. But, these things, you can really make a great determination on who a woman is just based on songs and shit she's listening to. Another question that I really enjoy to ask, right, is what is her top 3 favorite movies? Top 3 favorite movies. I gotta know what you like to watch. You know what I'm saying? So your ear gates and your eye gates are the 2 things that can influence you. Those are the major influencers, is the ear gates and the eye gates. What are you watching and what are you listening to? So, and the moment I understand that, boom, she tells me what movie she likes, and I can be able to determine what those movies are and say, okay, well, she likes romantic movies, or she likes, comedy, or she likes horror. That's going to tell me what type of genre whatever genre she's in, that's going to tell me more about her personality. If she likes horror films, then she's more into the gory things like that, whatever. There's certain people who are into that type of stuff, but it's more opportunities for spirits to influence her to do certain things, because that's how I feel about horror. It just opens up the spiritual gate for more spirits to, deal with you on certain levels. If that's just me personally, that's how I view it. But if she likes it, then, it could be nothing wrong there. Or she could be a psycho. You got to make a decision as to which one it is. So also, she likes comedy. She loves to laugh. I love people who love to laugh. I like to laugh. You know what I'm saying? I like to joke. Another thing is, of course, she likes action. You know what I mean? She likes to be excited. She might have her attention span may not be all the way there. So she might get bored with you if she likes action. So you might want to consider that. If she likes romance, right, then she likes to be romantic. She likes to be loved on, and she likes to love on others, right? So, you can make a real decision based on those things. These are just fun, lighthearted questions that will determine personalities without her even knowing that you're determining what type of personality she is. It's like, she don't even know. Like, she has no idea that you're determining her personality based on her selection. And like I said, it's all about the ear gates and the eye gates. What are you consuming? That makes those determinations. And and then you just kind of take it from there based on the flow of conversation. She chooses based on her song. She chooses goddamn some crazy song. Let's say she chooses Nelly. All in my head, man. Listen. We gonna make a play off of that. Now we talking shit about Nelly. Like, Nelly. Yeah. Nelly is not no real country singer. They keep telling me, you know what I mean? Like, why'd you choose that? Like, don't agree with every selection. You agree with a woman on every selection she made, you're just a yes man. Yeah, you're not somebody to be respected. No. It is boring. There's no banter back and forth. Mm-hmm. But if you see something, you're like, okay, and you start poking fun at that one thing, then it shows that you do have. You're decisive. You're able to know what you like and dislike, right? And you're not going to agree with every word that comes out of her mouth. So, just a tidbit for my fellas out there: don't ask questions like that. Like, don't ask these penetrating questions. Please. Give it like 2 or 3 days before you start digging into history, body count, all that shit. Just leave it alone for 2-3 dates until you feel like you really want to take her serious, and then start asking questions like that so you can make
when it matters to you.
Right.
It doesn't matter to you straight off the bat.
When it matters, not because you going out with her and somebody see you out, then you want to make a decision now. No, just get to know her as a person, and then go from there. Lighthearted, funny questions. Yo.
Yeah, I feel a lot of it too is just game.
Game.
Yeah, it's just game to kind of see like. Yeah. To make you think like, oh yeah, see, I really care about this, that, and the third. There's a lot of people that ask questions just to be nosy. That's just facts. To, they're not truly concerned. So.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so slow down, fellas. Slow down. Man, don't be rushing to, what's that song called, man? From Snoop Dogg, Sexual Seduction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't be sexually seductive, but just take the meat, spit out the bones. Take your time. Mm-hmm. She needs to get hers before I get mine. You understand what I'm saying? You need to take it slow. Mm-hmm. You not finna rush the stroke, fellas. You feel me? Don't rush it. Get to know her. Ask fun, lighthearted questions first. Then, you get serious, man, start dropping the bombs, seeing what's happening. You feel me? But move about it like that. So what we need to do now is we're going to take a quick break real quick, and we want to come back, man. If y'all got any questions out there, if y'all got any comments, we're going to hit this comment section hard, man. So drop them in the comment section, and we're going to read them off. And we're going to go ahead and address the comments, you know what I mean? Because I know we probably got at least another 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes or so, we can be able to do a little bit of comment section joints. This is like my favorite point because, man, the chat be going off, right? The chat be going off with the comments. So y'all go ahead and drop them. If you got anything, drop it in the comments, and we're going to go ahead and address it right when we come back, all right? All right. All right, y'all, we back. Listen, water break. You know, throat get a little dry, man, after talking for about a couple hours. So, appreciate you, Solomon King, Brother Solomon. Yes, sir. Also, okay, I see we have no comments or questions just yet. I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity to drop something down in there. Otherwise, I believe that my special guest for today has a few questions.
I do.
What you got? What's up?
So, what is your take on going abroad and finding a wife?
My take on going abroad and finding a wife, I think that more men bringing awareness to it is something that is good. I think it's healthy for men to go where they're appreciated, to go somewhere where they can find a modest woman who has been brought up in cultural values and that has understanding that a man requires certain levels of respect and honor within his home for it to be a healthy space and environment for everybody to thrive and grow in.
Right.
If a man is lacking those qualities from a woman who's presently taking up that space and that role, a man can't really focus and achieve all the things he has to achieve for the family and for himself, because he's too stressed out, worried about the woman who's not fulfilling her position, her role at the house. It could be very detrimental to the family, the whole family structure. The children feel it, the woman feels it, because if a man ain't happy, the whole house is gonna come down.
Right.
And so it's up to this woman to be able to create that safe space and comfort and a place of peace for this man to be able to go out and conquer, especially if she's typically at home. If she's more of an at-home mom, there's no reason why you shouldn't fulfill that role properly. If you work, then I understand it might be some lack, you know what I mean? But where you're lacking, you can always find a sister wife that can help you achieve those things, right? As to where she can step in and fulfill some of those things that you're lacking. So that's my take. When you're able to make that decision and go, then it's a good decision to make. Hold on a second. Wait a sec. We got a bit of an interruption, but hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from with that, and hopefully I explained it properly. Like, some things may not be understood. Some things may be confusing. But if I explained it properly, listen, just you can leave a comment below. If you feel like you want to add on to it, leave a comment down below. And we'll address it, things like that. But yeah, absolutely. If you're a man and you want to travel abroad to find a wife, and not just to travel abroad to have sex, or to have boom boom or pound town, you know what I'm saying? Like travel abroad to actually accomplish something. Don't do it just to go to pound town. You feel me? Because these guys out here, they doing some craziness, right? They're doing some foolishness, and it is like becoming a stain on anybody else who's looking just to go out here and find a solid woman. Another thing is protection, y'all. Like, be very selective. Be very selective as to who you're choosing. If you're gonna go across seas or overseas to camera's here. So if you're gonna go overseas, fellas, and you're going to find you a woman you can court, you can date, and eventually marry, then be selective. Understand where she's coming from. Understanding what her motives are as to why she wants to be with you. Understand everything you need to know about her. And a lot of times, moving to the country that she's from is the safest bet for you if you're not a man who's about his shit on the fitness level, if you're not a very attractive man, and also, of course, financially, you are prepared, right, to be able to live in that region, because maybe it's not as costly. Then do that. I'm not saying that you got to have a lot of money to bring her to the States. I'm saying, like, you got to at least be a man who's at least attractive, who takes good care of himself, and is a man who can compete with other men who look pretty good, right? Who's going to compliment her when she gets here, who's going to show attraction to her, things like that, right? Be careful, understand her motives, You know, if you do decide to bring it to the States because you make good money, just be sure that you're a good looking cat. You can't just be out here looking like, okay, you know, like they say, it's older guys who are older, who are not as attractive as is attractive. Yeah. Well, a lot of guys that I'm seeing traveling abroad and finding women or dating women, a lot of these guys are attractive men who have a decent career and just looking for somebody they can be able to connect with, they can bond with, they can find some good things to relate with. You know what I mean? So yeah, no problem. But so just be selective, be careful, and be very precise as to what you're doing when you're looking for a woman. You know, are women, right? Or if you're looking for multiple women. So, and yeah, that's what I'll say. You know, I don't know if we got. So that was her question. She's dealing with a couple of little ones right now. So yeah. Y'all let me know what you know, down in the comment section below. Hey, y'all, let me know what you feel like you should do when you're traveling abroad. Do you feel like that you want to travel to get to know more women, or for marriage, or are you traveling just to kind of play around? Like, what is this, and what's your thoughts on going overseas to actually find a woman or to find women? You know what I mean, or whatnot. What is your thoughts on that? You know, coming out of the state, would you actually travel out of the country in order to find a wife, you know, and things like that, or you know, somebody you can be able to connect with? Let us know in the comment section below. You got any other questions?
Yeah, you actually touched on it already. I was going to ask, would you relocate?
Okay, yeah.
To do this search for the woman.
Okay, like when I go move to a different country.
Yeah.
I thought about moving to Bali.
Okay.
Indonesia.
Okay.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I would definitely move out of the States and live in a different country. Especially, you know, of course, my money trees that I'm planting in the U.S. are flourishing and thriving, growing, and I'm able to take hands off of it and have people in charge, or I don't have to worry about relying on people at all. Listen, I'm there because, you know, the economy is totally different, and I know that I live a nice life there. But I definitely would, most definitely.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of benefits in doing that too. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
I was going to ask why Bali, but you touched on it already.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't like is that, you know, I like firearms, and I think that they have a problem with that in Bali. I think they have an issue with it, but they don't have a whole lot of crime. So
there would be no need for it.
Well, I don't know about need for it, right? Because you never know if invaders come. So
this is true.
You know, yeah, you can be able to do certain things, but if they got guns, then you beat. So that's the only thing that I kind of, you know, see that I don't really like. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a little bit more lax or lenient in the Philippines and other places as well. So.
Okay, so you would go to Asia.
I'm a tropical guy.
Okay.
I want to be in a beachy location.
Okay.
Something like that. You know, I think Jamaica is beautiful, it's great, it's cool, but I just think that I don't know if I want to make it that, you know, because Indonesia is independent from the U.S. and they don't do certain things with the U.S., right, or tied to them. I would want to be in a country where I know for sure if I'm there, I'm there, right, and that it's independent, or they're not going to be extremely westernized or have an opportunity for it, right? They're going to be morally wanting to stay within their culture. Jamaica, I believe they're a little too close to westernization. You know what I mean? So, you know,
Africa.
It's just Africa, the continent. I would love to, you know what I mean? But it just what country? You know what I mean? In Africa, would love to. I mean, I wouldn't mind. Wouldn't mind doing Africa either. You know what I'm saying? Bring some resources back to the motherland.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Africa is way underrated than what they should be, and the leaders need to step up more because they have the most natural resources on the planet. And then there's no reason why they shouldn't be a world power or one of the world powers.
It's corruption.
In the world, yeah.
Corruption.
They should be top 3, one of the top 3. It should be U.S., Russia, Africa.
Mm-hmm.
China should be 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If not the top, because they have the most natural resources to be able to barter and trade with. So y'all need to step it up a little bit over there in Africa, man. You know, your own people believe that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just not me as an American speaking on your Africa.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking on African. It's African people who want the leaders to step up and make them a world power as well, because they got too much natural resources. And I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I agree with the culture of that. So yeah. How about you? Would you live in a different country?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've definitely thought about moving to Ghana.
Okay.
Just because the peace and just the day-to-day satisfaction of the people there for the simple things in life, and the morals, the values. So if I could move anywhere abroad, it would be in the continent of Africa, just because I would love to be around my people. I would love to be, you know, close to the root. So, and that's just to live for the rest of my life. If it was anywhere I could live short term, of course there's other places, but to retire, to really settle down, it would be in the continent of Africa. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Definitely. That's definitely one of the top locations for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I see that we have nothing here yet, which is cool. It's all right, man. Y'all usually pop off in the comment sections, man. It's all good. But, you know, hopefully, of course, because we're about to close this out, y'all. I'm not going to even lie to you. Once we get back, of course, we're going to close this out. And, you know, one thing that I always like to say is that, you know, we've always wanted to shed some sort of light on what we're doing. And in shedding light, we can be able to understand more things. Because, you know, based on the quote, you know, light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and patience creates unity. That is Malcolm X, y'all. We need to be unified in the spirit, and we need to learn how to truly shed light and how to love each other, have patience, unity, all that good stuff. So I'm going to constantly promote that and push that as well. We're going to go ahead and close this out pretty soon. So please stand by, y'all. All right. I appreciate you guys joining us. And until the next live we come on through here, give it up for the fantastic, you know, special guest here who was able to come out here and actually open up and gave you guys some insight and some, I think it's some solid information for you to take with you, you know what I mean, on a day-to-day. And I really appreciate all my sit-downs with anybody who I'm able to actually sit down and have these dialogues with, because they bring such unique experiences to the platform, for people to hear what they've been through and what they're going through currently, what their experiences are, so that people can be more informed to make a better decision, to shed light on things they may not understand. So always appreciative of anybody who comes on and speaks. If you would like to reach out, we can go ahead and shoot you an email so we can be able to, you know, bring you on, let you know, or so you can be able to, you know, talk to the viewers about your relationship style, you know, what type of relationships that you've been in, what type of information you would like to share, whether it be through, you know, relationships values or morals, things like that. Man, just shoot us a message and we will reach out to you and bring you on so we can have a great solid dialogue. But like I said, until next time, appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll see you in the next live. All right, shalom, shalom, and peace.